Welcome to Fusion. I'm your host, Brendan, and I want to thank you for joining us. This is the beginning of season 4 of the Fusion podcast, and changes are afoot for us this year. The first and foremost is what you are seeing now, which is that it is me and me alone. We will no longer be approaching this as a team. That doesn't mean that team members won't join me from time to time. That doesn't mean that I won't interview other folks from time to time. But basically, I'm taking the Fusion podcast and I'm putting it on my shoulders and I'm carrying it forward. This is fun and exciting. And I don't even like to call it a breakup of the team because that isn't really what has happened. But what I've realized is that all of our team members are extremely busy. They were all young adults. And when I was in full time ministry and ministered to young adults in full time ministry, one of the things that I realized very quickly is that that stage of time is a stage of amazing and very fast change in the lives of young adults. If you think about your life from just age 18 to 22, think about the changes you went through in the first 4 to 5 years after you graduated from high school. Even if you didn't go to college, you experienced a lot of great change in your life from that time standpoint. And then if you do another 4 to 5 years, so let's say from 18 to 23, we'll take them in 5 year clips. From 18 to 23, think about the change in your life. And then think about the change in your life from 23 to 28, right? If you take any 5 year stretch, I would submit that anywhere from the age of 18 to 35, probably, and maybe even as long as high as 40, if you take any 5 year stretch during that time, you will have to admit you probably went through a lot of change in your life. And so when we launched this podcast, I knew that I was making a 3 to 5 year commitment, but we also knew that change was going to come. I knew, and we knew as a team, that the team may not always stay together, and that was fine. And so, as we explored moving forward into what is now our fourth season, it just seemed best that we would stop the process of trying to get the team together all the time and simply allow this to, as I said, fall on my shoulders because this has always been my baby, anyways. This was my vision, this was my dream, and it has always been mine. And the team was there, had a great sharing in the vision, but as I said, each one of them in their own different ways has experienced so much change over the past few years that it certainly makes much more sense for them to move forward with their change and not be beholden to trying to get together with me on a regular basis. But as I said, we will have them. We will still bring back Anthony from time to time. We will still bring back Nia from time to time. We will still bring back Seth and Josiah and Sydney. We will bring them all back from time to time. But going forward, the biggest format change, one of the biggest, I shouldn't say the biggest because I've actually got some more things to share with you. One of the biggest format changes is that it's going to be me. Here's some of the other format changes. First of all, we have a new name. It is still the Fusion Podcast, but the rebranding of the name is that it will now be simply Fusion with Brendan Saunders. So we used to call it the Fusion Podcast. It used to be a young adult ministry. Really, it is going forward, it is simply Fusion with Brendan Saunders. And you may have noticed that if you get this if you get this podcast from our Libsyn platform. That is our native platform. Libsyn disperses out to the other platforms. And even on the other platforms, you may have noticed a little tweaking in the logo and things like that. You should have noticed a little tweaking because the new name, as I said, is Fusion with Brendan Saunders. And the new tagline is exploring the integration of faith and life. And that's really what we've always been about. We just did it as a team, and I'm going to be leading us to do it as an individual now. Fusion, the idea and definition of fusion is the bringing together of things, one or two elements, multiple elements, I'm sorry, coming together, which often creates something new, dynamic, and exciting. That's the concept between of fusion. So the fusion that I like to look at is the integration of our faith. I am a Christian. I am a what is known as an evangelical Christian. I have placed my faith in Jesus Christ alone as my savior. And that is supposed to integrate into my life. And that's what we want to explore. That's what we've always explored, whether we were talking politics, whether we were talking current events. This has always been about exploring how everyday Christians integrate their faith into their life. Well, so that's going to continue. It's just going to be me. What you will see, for instance, now our Libsyn page is still the address for it is Fusion Young Adults with an S .libsyn.com, and our Patreon page, for instance, is patreon.com/fusion young adults. What you are going to see is those are probably going to change in the days to come. I will let you know before we make an official change of what the next thing will be. I'm trying to decide whether I want to purchase a new domain name, and exactly how I want to refine what we do. So for the time being, you'll still find me on the same platforms. If you listen on Libsyn, if you listen on Apple, if you listen on Google, if you listen on Stitcher or SoundCloud, however you listen, that's going to continue. Even if our URL changes, I will port those things over, but those are going to change. The other thing that's going to change is the length and time of this podcast. Now, I know I am very talkative. In fact, even right now, I'm talking more and longer than I had originally planned. But the general idea is going to be to cut the time frame of the podcast down to 10 to 15 minutes. It'll still be a weekly podcast. It will probably start dropping now on Wednesdays. So the new podcast drop date will be on Wednesdays. It's currently on Tuesdays, although some of you know that generally by Monday evening at 9 o'clock, you can start to get it on some of our platforms. Again, I'm moving the official drop date to Wednesday, which means our Patreon listeners will be able to get it as early as Tuesday evening. And that's one of the bonuses for being a financial supporter of ours through Patreon, is that you get earlier access. And when I do go for longer than 10 or 15 minutes, or when I do want to talk about a topic a little bit longer, those extended times are going to be on Patreon. And again, Patreon are those fans of ours, you're still friends of Fusion, our friends who are willing to invest in us financially for as little as $1 a month, $12 a year. I mean, come on, that's less than a meal that you can jump on board with us, and you will still be able to get bonus content there. That bonus content may not be every single episode, but again, first of all, you will get early access to every episode. Second of all, you will get the bonus content on times when I go above and beyond the 10 or 15 minutes allotted for this each weekend. And so I hope that you will continue to consider being a friend of Fusion. Visit our Patreon page. The final and the last thing that you will want to know is that really I want to broaden our reach on YouTube. We have a YouTube page. A lot of you may not know that, but we have a YouTube page. And for a little over a year, we've been putting various videos there. Now, for a little over a year, we've been putting previews of every episode there. You don't know this, but we also have stored some of our back episodes there, but they are sort of private right now. And so you only get those episodes if you're a Patreon. See how we do that? all those episodes go over to Patreon, because when you support us financially, we love you just a little bit more than everybody else. We love everybody, but we love our Patreon supporters just a little bit more than everyone else. That's right. Life isn't fair, and our love isn't fair. We love those. We love those who support us just a little bit more than others. But we have gotten some run over the year or so that we've been putting things on Facebook. And so on our Facebook site, we currently have 1,000 subscribers, but we don't necessarily get 1,000 video downloads. And I would like to start getting that. What I would like to do is I would like to grow our YouTube subscriber base, and I would like to grow our YouTube video downloads. And so every episode, while you will still be able to get the audio version on Libsyn and on Apple and on however you currently get it, I really want to invite you, and I really want to encourage you, and I really want to ask you to come join us on YouTube, because we're going to put these 10 to 15-minute videos up on YouTube. We are going to put that out there, and we want to grow that subscriber base. So would you please consider joining us on YouTube? Would you please, when you come join us on YouTube, would you hit the subscribe button? And would you hit the like button for each video that I post each week? And would you join us there and help us grow that? Because there is so much room to grow. There is so much opportunity to broaden this ministry. It's always been a ministry to me. There's so much room to broaden this on that platform. And as I said, just the fact that one of our videos got a run on there, one of our videos got over 1,000 downloads, and one of our and it sparked subscriptions for us. And so we want to and by the way, for those that aren't familiar with YouTube, subscribing to us on YouTube doesn't cost you anything. All right. If you want to support us financially, the best way to do that is still on our Patreon page. But subscribing on YouTube gets you so that whenever we post a video, you find out about it. You immediately get a notice, and you get to support us by going and watching that video. And by the way, commenting on our YouTube videos is going to become the primary way to talk to us. We've set up the talk and text line. We've often, encouraged you by email. All of that is being moved over to YouTube. The best way to say, hey, I love that. Hey, thank you for that. Hey, whatever, is to go to YouTube every week, watch the video of our episode, and comment there. And your comments can be simple as a thumbs up. Like I said, your comment, you can like us, you can subscribe to us, and you can just say, hey, thanks for that. I enjoyed that. Join us on YouTube. That's the biggest move that we're making, is that I'm going to continue these audios, but really we want this to become a video ministry that really runs through YouTube, and we want to grow our presence on that platform. And so we are inviting you to take this next journey with us. This is, I wouldn't say that there's a fork in the road, but I will say that other opportunities have presented themselves, and this seemed like the one that God was most directing. This seemed like the one that would fit for how we want to move forward. Paring down these episodes to 10 to 15 minutes and getting them out to a potentially broader and wider audience. Our current audience is great. We love you. We love the downloads numbers that we get, but I believe that this can grow even greater on YouTube. It's a platform where we can grow. So how can you find us on YouTube? I've talked about YouTube endlessly. How can you find us? You can simply go to YouTube and search for Fusion Brendan Saunders or Fusion with Brendan Saunders, because you will find that if you go to YouTube. And that's another great thing, is that previously, if you tried to look for us on YouTube, uh and you put in a search for Fusion podcast, there's a ton of Fusion podcasts. We were not the only Fusion podcast out there, but we are the only Fusion with Brendan Saunders. So if you will go to YouTube and you will search for Fusion with Brendan Saunders every week and join us there, join me there, I would be greatly indebted to you. And as I said, for those who are financial supporters, I thank you. You will continue to get you will continue to get the video and the audio 24 hours or earlier. You'll get them on Tuesday evening instead of having to wait till Wednesday. And then also on times when I go long, and this is going to be the last time I go long because I've gone long here. And moving forward, anytime that I get to the 15-minute mark, it's going to be cut off, and you're going to have to find the rest of it on Patreon as one of our subscribers on Patreon. As I said, it's a little as $1 a month. That's only $12 a year. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you so much for all of your support. And I want to invite you to take this new path with me. It's a fresh new journey. Season 4, Fusion with Brendan Saunders. Come join me here every Wednesday. Thank you so much.